A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, Lord. Jesus returned from the region of Tyre and went by way of Sidon towards the Sea of Galilee in the region of Decapolis. They brought to him a man who was deaf and who had an impediment in his speech, and they begged him to lay his hand on him. Jesus took him aside in private away from the crowd and put his fingers into his ears, and he spat and touched his tongue. Then looking up to heaven, Jesus sighed and said to the man, Ephphatha, that is, be opened. And immediately his ears were opened, his tongue was released, and he spoke plainly. Then Jesus ordered them to tell no one. But the more he ordered them, the more zealously they proclaimed it. They were astounded beyond measure, saying, He has done everything well. He even makes the deaf to hear and the mute to speak. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Criminal psychologists say criminals do not expect themselves to be caught. Not only that, they also believe that they can get away from police search and investigation. Indeed, some criminal cases are left unsolved. When a man commits immorality, he does not expect painful consequences either. Even when he knowingly violates moral norms, he believes that he will not be accountable for his perpetration. Indeed, we see many immoral people live unpunished. When the snake tempted the woman of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, he said, You will not die. Indeed, she or her husband did not die right away. It seems they lived a long life after God drove them out of Eden. Nevertheless, the book of Genesis tells us the irreversible consequences of the trespass. The sin broke the trustful relationship between the man and the woman. Sin-dominated relationship now among men. They could not stand before each other naked. They had to defend themselves from each other. Moreover, man cannot stand before God either. He became fearful of God. Why? It is because his conscience is no longer clear. His hands are not clean. His heart is not pure. He does not remain in God's grace anymore. Sin also shattered man's relationship with God. And unfortunately, man does not have any way to restore the relationship by his power. So would you say the snake was telling the truth because the man and the woman did not immediately die when they trespassed God's commandment? When our relationship turns into doubt, suspicion, grudge, bitterness, or hatred, we feel worse than having no relationships. By sin, we deform our relationships into unbearable tortures. It is not a metaphor. Sins change our relationships into a living hell. Now, cast out from God's grace, the man walks in the darkness of sin. He is no longer happy as God intended at his creation. He must live with permanent confusion in his mind and heart. He is dead before God.